Do a date night for just $35. Dinner for two this weekend. It's a deal. Make a date Friday to Sunday, July. Date night, $35. Chili's, you and me.
Me and you.
No. They just sent me it, so I'm like, oh.
Well. Some broad sent you this email saying like date night meeting.
Well, I mean, it was the company Chili's.
Oh, okay. I thought some girl sent you that.
No,
email.
so I have an account with them.
Well,
so
what do you
I
want me? What do you want my opinion on?
I don't want your opinion. I asked you out on the date, and you're an asshole.
Sync it up, because we got two cameras.
Okay. Was that our sync?
You can do it again if you want to.
Was that our sync?
Third time's the charm.
Okay, you can do it now.
Okay, so.
I was really tempted to do it again.
Hey guys, welcome to our review of Ant-Man, and I like this one. This was a cute one.
It's not nice to make fun of seizures.
Starting off strong, I see. Okay, so, what do you guys want to talk about? You
The
want to
fucking movie, man.
Preferably, I would like to talk about Civil War.
Okay, so, Ant-Man,
You mean the Marvel Civil War?
Welcome to
or
the video.
American
What are we
Civil
talking
War?
about?
Yes. Okay.
I don't know, let me read the title.
Let's do a mashup where they're the same thing.
I'm looking at the title.
Alright.
There's no title.
Literally 20 minutes ago, we saw the movie.
Yeah, and it was
Did you
for
time
Ant-Man.
it? Was it 28 minutes ago exactly?
I mean, he was driving.
Well,
so.
I mean, it started two hours and like
ago.
40 minutes ago, but like, I mean, we left the movie
Anyway.
theater 20 minutes ago.
It's been about, half past a freckle since we left the
Should
theater.
we clarify that we're going to not talk about
Is it
spoilers
an abusive
first?
ass?
and then
Yeah, we're not going to talk about spoilers first. We're going to talk about the actual
We're going to
movie.
do a non-spoiler review
Or
first, and then
general-
about halfway through we're going to cut to
Basically, it's going to
talk
be like,
about spoilers.
we're going to talk about the general movie, and then we're going to talk about the specifics, which are like the spoilery
pros and
details.
cons spoilers.
Yeah, pros and cons, spoiler details. Are we going to start with pros and cons now, or do you want
No, we're just general, just non-spoiler discussion right
Okay. Anyway, so Ant-Man was really funny, mostly because it's Paul Rudd and was this the director that did? I think it's the guy that did
now.
Pitch
It was the guy
Perfect.
who did Anchorman, that's all.
Oh, is it Anchorman?
No, wait. That guy left.
No, that was Edgar Wright. I think you're right. The guy that did that was Adam Reed. No, Peyton Reed.
They got
Edgar Wright, who did like Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that to originally direct it, but he dropped out.
Oh.
And then they got Peyton Reed, who I think is the guy that did Pitch Perfect.
they got. I believe they got the director for Ant-Man, but I think for Anchorman, but I think he left.
Okay,
And then they got Peyton.
I think he did writing for it.
Yeah.
The guy that did Anchorman, I think, did some
Worked on it
and I
and
know-
directed.
Yeah, I know Paul.
Yeah.
I know Paul Rudd wrote some of the script too. So it was really funny. I love Anchorman. I love Paul Rudd. So it had kind of that. It didn't have the exact same style of humor, but it was sharp humor. It was pretty funny. And Michael Douglas is fucking great. I like Michael Douglas.
Yeah. I would say for the funny points, it's a lot of wordplay, which I like and think is hilarious,
Yeah,
and a little bit of awkward moments and just kind of like ridiculousness.
a little bit of slapstick.
And you'll see
Yeah.
like
A
especially
little slapstick.
without spoilers, like towards the more fighting towards the end of the movie, some ridiculous stuff happens and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, the absurdity is just kind of like, well, the absurdity kind of plays in the fact that it's a fucking movie called Ant-Man. So
Yeah.
you're not really supposed to. I don't want to say
It's
it's
a movie about a guy who can shrink and talk to ants.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's an
The
entirely.
premise is already hysterical.
I'm not saying you don't have to not take this movie seriously, but the movie itself doesn't take itself seriously.
It's definitely the most humorous movie Marvel's done yet.
Yeah, like even more.
Like all the Marvel movies have had like that humor.
Guardians
that's
was
kind of
up there.
flair.
I would say Guardians.
Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Guardians
Probably
was
I
like-
most
retract my
related.
previous statement.
But
in my
I feel like Guardians had that whole dying mom cancer
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
kind of
The
balanced
beginning of
out.
it definitely was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think the fact that like the villain in Guardians is more serious and the whole dying mom cancer thing, I think that kind of balanced it out and made it more of a whole movie. But Ant-Man was definitely more of a comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I definitely
they were
had
going with
far
that.
more laughs out of Ant-Man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like Guardians and Age of Ultron were kind of on the same level of like quippy comedy.
Yeah.
Like they had like the same amount, I think.
Mhm.
Which is weird because like I didn't think that like Age of Ultron was gonna have that
Yeah,
much.
but like
but,
Ant-Man, the humor's pretty consistent throughout.
Oh
the
yeah,
movie.
oh yeah. Which you get Paul Rudd as a superhero. I don't know what you expect.
It's hard to be serious with a superhero that's Ant-Man. He shrinks.
Yeah,
his
like
hands.
that's the thing. If you're gonna do a movie
Yeah.
based on a guy named fucking Ant-Man who can shrink and talk to bugs, like you can't make it like you can't make it
oh,
like
my wife and kids are dead. Like,
yeah, you can't make
do
it
that.
like DC Warner Brothers Grimdark.
Right.
Like make it fun, make it lighthearted. There are some dark moments, but like on the whole, it's a lighthearted, funny, comedic superhero movie with Paul Rudd and fucking Judy Greer, and Judy Greer doesn't do much, but like if you've watched our Jurassic World review, I kind of bitch about Judy Greer not doing anything a little bit. In this one, she has a little bit more screen time, but she actually kind of does some shit, and that makes me happy because I love Judy Greer, and I thought she was wasted in Jurassic World, and she actually does some things in this movie, and not a whole lot, but like she actually has some actual funny lines.
Yeah.
She's a big name actress for close to nothing.
Yeah, as opposed to Jurassic World, where she was like, oh, we're getting a divorce and you're not paying attention to the kids. And this one, she's actually like, she actually has a few humorous lines and actually some good chemistry with Paul Rudd.
Likeable character for the small amount of screen time.
Oh yeah,
she
like
has.
actually most of the characters are likable, like for the
Yeah.
most part, like except for like
Except for
a few-
Paxton.
Fucking Darren.
okay,
Darren and Paxton.
Darren and Paxton, and I guess like his Louise was kind of like
Sorry, Dad.
Louise was kind of annoying in the beginning, but then like he got better.
Yeah, first was like get to the point, but then you
Yeah,
realize it's
wh-
part of his character.
Yeah,
He's-
when you see Louise in the beginning, he's kind of like your stereotypical like Mexican veteran, like, hey, SA, I got this chip from my cousin.
He's very obnoxious in the beginning.
Yeah, but then he gets
But he
better.
grows on you.
He's wildly Mexican.
He's wildly Mexican.
Wildly Mexican.
But fucking the Russian guy or whatever his name was, like Kurt or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he was good. He was
He was pretty much like a one-liner kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement that we'd recommend to go see it.
If you
Oh,
like
yeah.
Marvel movies, you're gonna like Ant-Man.
If you like Paul
Yeah.
Rudd, go and see it.
Also, not spoiling them, there are 2 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
So stay through the entirety of the
one
credits
as soon as
to go
the
see it.
film's over, they do like a little credits, and then they do the
Yeah,
real
like what they-
credits.
like what they
After
did-
the real credits, it's for a different movie.
It's like what they did with Avengers and Winter Soldier and Thor: The Dark World. Like they had
two, count them, two.
count them two.
One
and
in the
they're
middle, one at the end.
both- One's important to the movie and one's important to the greater universe. I don't think I'm giving anything away, but like
No.
one's in. I think it's what a lot of the 2 post-credit scene things are. They're like one's important to the movie and one's important to like the universe.
Alright.
Yeah. So you want to go with the
So that being said,
That being said, one
we're
of the
doing this right now. Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Make
If you
it call-
continue on beyond this point, you have lost your privilege to bitch
Future
about spoilers.
Future Connor, make it flash.
It'll flash.
Are you sure it's gonna flash?
I'm not sure it's gonna flash.
Okay.
There's actually just gonna be a big blur here,
There better not be anything stupid on my head, Connor.
and
There's
then
anything stupid on my
every
head.
time you
hey,
talk, it'll just be wah,
I don't know.
wah, wah.
Just do wolf job, man.
Let's give you a wolf job.
Just do bullshit. Anyway, that's not a spoiler.
Here's a wolf job. Okay.
That's a nice wolf job. Anyway, so spoilers for Ant-Man and not copying Game Grumps jokes. I don't know, what do you want to tackle first?
Alright, so we're gonna go around the table as usual. See what we liked, what we didn't like,
Okay.
and then we're gonna do a rating out of 5 this time instead of out of 10.
We can do this whole discussion about why the out of 10 rating is
We
kind
don't
of.
have to explain ourselves, we're just gonna change.
Fuck you guys, you don't get an explanation.
It was never intended
Alright.
to change. We would just decided after a discussion.
Yeah, alright. Jake, you start us off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pros for the movie. Spoilers. I guess I can start out with my favorite thing about the movie. First of all, I love how they. I guess it's not my favorite, but they approached the movie in such a great way with his powers, because it's just kind of. Whenever I saw the trailer, I was like, kind of like how I am with the Deadpool movie. I love both of them as characters, but turning them into movies is going to be difficult. Marvel did it very well with Ant-Man, and I kind of went in with open expectations because the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is my favorite Marvel movie, give me the director's name.
James Gunn.
Thank you. He went and saw Ant-Man before it came out, and he's like, he loves what they did with it and the way that they did it. So I was like, okay, going into it with that mentality. Anyways, I love pretty much everything about this movie. I love how they approach his powers. It's like his shrinking powers and like going back to them. How they acknowledge that it's kind of silly, but they also acknowledge that it's very powerful. Like he fucking beats up Falcon, like pretty easily, I would say.
Yeah.
And they call him right at the beginning
Minimal
of the
difficulty.
yeah.
Yeah.
He has little to no like combat like experience. He only knows how to work the suit, and he destroys a guy who was in like a secret organization for the
He beats an
military.
Avenger.
Yeah, he beats
basically.
he beats a goddamn. He didn't only beat an Avenger.
They
he
call
beat
him
an
a pussy in the
Avenger
beginning of the movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a
He
pussy."
beat an Avenger and a U.S. Air Force officer.
Right.
He knows how to throw a punch and pretty much throw a person.
Yeah.
Like, that's all he knows. He has no actual like martial skill whatsoever.
And I love that. I also love that the creator of the technology for Ant-Man's suit was Ant-Man before, like during I guess Cold War times.
Like
really.
the 17 years,
Yeah, cool.
And they mentioned it early in the film, like, oh, like look at these like clips of like the small man, and he's like, no, it's just a myth, but it wasn't a myth. The owner, the
Hank Pym.
former owner, yeah, thank you, of the company, he's like, no, that didn't happen. But then he's like, yeah, that did happen because I'm an Ant-Man. And he's like, and they've never done that in the Marvel movies, where they've had the superhero be before, and then like this is like the new version of him, kind of like. I guess as an example would be Spider-Man. In the comics, Peter Parker dies, and then there's the new Spider-Man. I'm forgetting all these names.
Miles Morales.
Thank you.
And it's just in the Ultimate Universe. So
Right.
I don't think that fucking matters.
Just an example.
Nobody's gonna give a shit about Spider-Man.
And I love that. And I don't know. I don't want to say too much because there's 3 more of us. So those are probably my favorite things in the movie. All the jokes too. I thought they were all hilarious.
And I think I know which one's your favorite.
Oh yeah.
The fucking.
My fucking face. I can only imagine.
Okay. Anyway, but
This isn't a keychain.
this isn't a keychain. In terms of
We'll get there in a second.
okay,
Matt,
anyway,
you
so, to piggyback on what you said, where you like how Hank Pym was Ant-Man before Scott Lang, the reason I like that is because it gives the world more depth.
Yep.
Because with a lot of superhero things I see, like TV shows or movies or stuff like that, they say like, yeah, we have superheroes, but they've just now shown up, like, in the 21st century. But this movie is saying, like, we had superheroes since, like, the 70s. So I really like that because, like, when I first heard, you know, oh yeah, Hank Pym's actually be, like, 70 years old and Scott Lang's been the main character, I was like, that's fucking bullshit. I wanted Hank Pym to be, like, as the same age as the Avengers so we could have them, like, team up and shit, because he was a founder in the comics, but, like, then I heard this and I was like, yeah, that could work. What else? Yeah, like I already said, the characters are likable. Paul Rudd's great. He reminded me of Deadpool a lot of the time, like with the quippiness of him. I suppose I think he'd be a good Deadpool if Ryan Reynolds wasn't already like killing it. Gee, let me think what else. The Falcon scene that was pretty cool. Again, it's the same like world building shit because like a lot of things I kind of brought up. Like I understand why you can't have other superheroes like this in other like superhero-centric movies because like you know you don't want to overcrowd it and it's their movie, which is the reason like Thor can't be in Winter Soldier or something like that. But this one actually gives a kind of a reason where Scott Lang's like, we should call the Avengers, and Hank Pym's like, no, I don't want Stark to get his hands on this technology. So they kind of give a reason for that, and also we do have an Avenger in the movie, so it's kind of like they're there, but it's just enough to where you're like, yeah, they're in here, but we don't need them in here, you know, because.
They're also they gave him a good linking point to get him into the
Avengers. They gave him a good linking point to get him in the Avengers, you know.
It didn't feel like they threw the Falcon fight in there just to have it. It
no,
like it actually.
It made sense by the end of the movie.
No,
yeah.
it was. I was kind of expecting the Avengers facility to be something like that. They were like, when I start with Warehouse, and I'm like, is this gonna be the fucking Artem Zola scene in Winter Soldier again? And then it's like, oh shit, it's the Avengers place. I'm like, oh shit, it's the Avengers place. So yeah, I don't know what else I can say other than I liked it. So. Zach.
I liked it. The jokes are great. There's like Jay said, the wordplay is ridiculous, and also there's some ridiculous stuff that happens, like the keychain. This entire movie, you keep seeing Hank Pym's keys, and he has a little tank on a keychain. And it's like at first, Matt and I were like, oh, it's probably just, you know, like memorabilia from when
like,
he was fighting in the Cold War.
He drives like a 1950s style car, so I figured he must just like old things. That must be like a 1940s like.
So yeah,
and they thought about it way more than I did. I was just like, Hank rhymes with tank.
I didn't even notice.
So, well, they're in this building that's rigged with C4 and all this other shit. So this thing's gonna explode, and they're like, "Nah, we're gonna make it out of here." And she's like,
"What?" A
"What?"
little bit more fancy than C4.
Well, yeah,
it's like
it implodes the building.
It's like Pym particle C4.
Yeah,
pretty much. It's just amped. And he just pulls out his keys and he's like, it's not a keychain. And the next thing you know, there's a tank driving out like the 3rd story window
With a giant keychain behind it.
Yeah, with a giant
I just
keychain.
love that implies at some point Hank Pym shrunk a tank and has just been wearing it on
I like
his,
to think
belt
that
the
there's
whole
so
time.
many things in his house that are actually like real life things. That
Yeah,
he's
like he has like
Every little like tiny knickknack he has is actually like a working
the other thing is that-
machine of war.
the other thing is that like I must have been fucking stupid.
He has like a small like warhead on his bookshelf.
Don't touch that
model
Scott
planes
It's
that are
actually
real.
a real life war. I must have been fucking stupid because when Scott first breaks into his house, I didn't catch on the person that was Hank Pym's house. I thought it was just some like other random house that he was fucking up with. And then like around the time that the thumbprint scan came up, I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's not just a normal guy. And then like, so I thought when I first
The Ant-Man suit didn't give it away?
no, before that, I was kind of thinking like,
Yeah,
okay,
before he broke into the safe.
Before he broke into the safe, I was thinking maybe this is like another guy that's not Hank Pym.
Just some rich guy.
Yeah.
yes, just something rich. So I thought like the keychain was like, oh, this guy's to be a war veteran or something.
Yeah, I kind of thought going into it that he was going to get arrested, like while he was in there, and then he would meet him like
Yeah.
in prison or
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they actually did
Yeah,
like
like-
as his
yeah.
lawyer or
Yeah.
whatever. I
So-
didn't think there was a correlation.
Yeah, no. So they did something like that, but
I found Zach, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I found it really enjoyable. Not being a huge comic book person, I didn't really. I was aware of Ant-Man, but I didn't really know much about him. So for me, this movie was a bit of a test on Marvel, kind of, just because. Okay, yeah, we've seen that they can handle the bigger heroes, but what if they have a smaller hero that's not as popular? Can he hold a movie on his own, or can they make him hold a movie on his own? And it totally passed that test. So I was like, check DC.
Oh, God.
Because I mean, I haven't really seen anything DC that's really impressed me. So Marvel was just going farther and farther for me, and that was a big thing with me going into this movie. It was just because I didn't really know anything about Ant-Man, so I just went in hoping that it was going to be great, and it was. So that's my pro. Zach, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's cool because Ant-Man is sort of lesser known among like the Marvel pantheon, and just seeing that they were able to like handle that in a really good way that like made him now like a really important part of the universe, and I think a lot more people can like relate to him now because like we know him, was definitely a high point. And also the Yellow Jacket suit, just the design of it is really cool, and it works. The Wasp,
Yeah.
the post-credit scene with the Wasp.
The post-credit scene with the Wasp. Yeah, like
I'm not sure if we wanted
Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah,
the post-credit
we
scenes
can
yet.
talk. We can totally talk about the post-credit scenes.
Okay, the first
there,
one-
There are two of them. The first one is Hank Pym's daughter Hope, who helps Paul Rudd throughout the movie. She is Hank Pym's daughter, like I said, and for the post-credit scene, it's Hank Pym, and he leads her down to the basement, and it's like, I have something to show you, and it's a brand new Wasp suit
because in this
her
one,
mom was the Wasp.
her wife, who comic fans know as Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, Hank Pym.
Yeah.
His
You said
wife.
his, you said her.
Okay.
Yeah,
His
Hank
wife,
Pym's
Janet Van Dyne, was the Wasp back when he was the Ant-Man, but she died because
In order to stop a nuke, she had to shrink to a subatomic level, and is
Yeah.
now basically stuck in the subatomic.
And
She's
so-
still shrinking to this day.
yeah,
most likely,
Yeah.
if she's not fucking dead.
Yeah.
They explain it in the movie.
Well, time's not a factor.
That's true.
She has
So-
to be just in a
It's
fucking
a
hell.
whole weird
So then the
thing.
post-credit scene is Hank Pym basically being like, "I want you to be the Wasp," and the design of the Wasp suit is cool. It kind of
Yeah,
looks,
the new
it
Wasp suit looks
kind of looks like the
interesting.
retro Wasp suit a little bit because the original Wasp in the comics had this weird like pointy head hat thing, and it kind of has that sort of aesthetic, but like it
So needless
looks
to say,
good.
we can expect Wasp in the future
Yeah,
Marvel movies.
and then the other one,
And then the second post-credit scene, oh boy,
oh boy,
Bucky.
Bucky!
it's
It's
we see Captain America and Falcon are in like a workshop,
a
of some
garage or
kind,
something,
a
like
garage,
a mechanic shop.
and they have like Bucky strapped down to something, whatever,
Yeah, like
like,
it's
like a
going-
clamp or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Rape scene.
And they talk about like, because like they found Bucky,
Bondage.
they're like,
I know what you're talking about.
should we call Stark? And then Cap's like, let's not involve Stark. And it's
Of
just
course.
this whole like lead into Civil War.
And Falcon's like, I know a guy, and it's probably Ant-Man.
Yeah, and Falcon's
which
like, I know a
I'm
guy.
assuming that's the scene.
Well, like at the end of the
Yeah.
scene, it says Ant-Man will return.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Ant-Man's gonna show up in Civil War,
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
giant man.
and
that
it
one,
sounds
too,
like he's
'cause,
gonna have a second movie coming.
Yeah.
Because Wasp.
Because Wasp.
Well, Wasp could be in Civil War also.
Wasp will probably be. in
Yeah,
Civil War.
but just given the fact that they're separate,
yeah.
it makes me feel like they're gonna like Ant-Man has his own thing.
Well,
going
I'm trying
on
to think what
and
else they would do
Civil
for
War.
a second Ant-Man movie, because, like...
Also, like, him joining the Avengers at the end of the movie was another
I have
big
a
trope.
theory.
You have a theory?
Yeah, well, at least an interpretation for the clip.
Okay.
I can see it. Well, it acts as a medium for the next Avengers movie, but I think it also acts as a medium for the next Ant-Man movie because he says, "I know a guy," and he's clearly talking about Ant-Man.
Right.
So it makes
Right.
sense. I think Ant-Man is going to shrink down and go inside of Bucky to try and fix his brain.
Not sure if hot or gross.
That could...
Not sure why you would think hot.
He's gonna go
'Cause
inside
at
of
the moment-
Bucky.
Not sure
Inside
how.
of
That
when Hydra saved him, if you guys don't know, whenever Hydra saved Bucky, Bucky fell off a fucking train or
A train,
something
yeah.
into like a fucking ravine cliff, and Captain America was like, "Yeah, he died. Like I've got over." And then
Nope.
in the second Captain America movie, you find out that the villain is Bucky. They did the exact same thing they did to Captain America, and they wiped his memory. And we find out that they found out where Bucky is, and they're trying to fix him. But his brain has been wiped so many times that he's just like kind of a bumbling mess. He's just like, what the fuck is my life? And so I think they're going to try and like, oh, Ant-Man can maybe go in there and try and fix him. I liked how Ant-Man is, well, I guess there's one other one, is one of the only Avengers who actually kind of has a family.
Yeah.
Hawkeye,
Yeah.
he has a secret family.
I mean, provided he's divorced and is
Right,
for, like,
but he has a reason. He's like, no, I love my daughter. I want to save her. And like no other Avenger has that mentality. They're just kind of like, oh, I'm doing this for the good.
Yeah, because
And-
They kind of have
knows
nothing left to
Yeah.
lose.
And
Tony's
also,
just a loner.
and also, like, Scott Lang is like one of the only like Avengers that is actually like kind of like a normal guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because Tony's like a billionaire, Cap's like a frozen soldier. A lot of them work for the government and basically live with the government.
Yeah.
But Scott like lives in this little
Scott's just
shit.
a dude.
Scott lives in this shitty little apartment with his Mexican best friend.
I mean, he's an
like,
experienced thief, but I mean,
yeah,
besides
but
that,
he's
just
still
a
like
dude.
Yeah.
he's still the dude. He's basically kind of like a Daredevil in that matter. Like
Yeah.
Ant-Man kind of shows up like not like the higher up of like the Avengers level, but like kind of like the street level a little bit.
I do think it's cool that like he's able to like take out. It's a cool like heist movie.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I love heist movies.
he's able to like basically fight large groups of people that are literally thousands of times bigger than he is
Yeah.
with like no difficulty, even
Right.
though he's not
Yeah.
a combatant, which like you touched on earlier, which is
Yeah.
cool. Any other big things we missed? There's no Infinity Stone in the movie.
There's no
so
Infinity Stone.
Anybody who's looking for that? It's
There's
not
no
happening.
Stanley cameo.
Stanley cameo.
Very end.
Right at the
Very
end.
end.
Very end of the movie. there's
Which
a
I think is the
cameo.
best way to do it, because like when
Yeah.
I watch this, this happened with the first Avengers too, where like I'll be kind of sitting there, and in the first few minutes I'll be like, okay, I want to see if I can find a Stanley cameo. Like I'm gonna be very on high. I'm gonna watch the movie, but I'm gonna be on high alert.
You don't even really need to be on high alert.
No,
for Stanley
no.
cameos anymore. Though,
The
'cause
only
usually
time
he
you've
has a
had
line.
to is
No.
during Daredevil, because it's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Daredevil he's just a photo in the background.
So then, like, and then when I watch the movie, I get so sucked into the story, I forget that Stanley's gonna be in here.
Yeah.
So then at the very end, when he does show up, it's a surprise.
Yeah, I
so
completely forgot.
I think that it's the best way to do it at the very end of it. Now, some people would say that that'd be more distracting because people will be like watching the entire movie, like, where's the Stanley cameo? Where's the Stanley cameo? So
The movie's like it's good enough to the point where like you'll just forget. Like
Yeah.
you'll get so like
Yeah.
immersed into the story that you're just
Yeah.
You
like,
forget you're supposed to be
Yeah.
watching for Stanley.
whenever it pops up, be like, holy shit, and
Yeah.
holy shit, Stanley's a bartender.
And
That's
speaking
good
of
voice.
the actual
Yeah.
cameo, it might be my favorite one. Like
It's
it was
pretty great.
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
just because of how they
It's
just
pretty
of how they handled it and like did it like it has some really like comedic editing too. I
Yeah.
think. So
I think like whenever he's talking about how he got the information for the heist in both instances,
Yeah, and it's cut
those
back
are
and forth,
hilarious.
back and
How like
forth,
it's
yeah.
just his overlay
It's
of
just
like
such-
audio.
it's just such
Or-
quick editing and like
oh my
voiceover
God.
and stuff like that.
Because like Stanley has a line, but he doesn't
It's not
speak
his,
it.
yeah.
No,
it's so great.
It's Michael Pena that said it.
Yeah.
Uh,
The final fight between Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket was the other thing I was.
That was
gonna
really
touch on.
creative.
hilarious.
That was an
Awesomely
amazing
hair.
fight.
It was so-
it was so handled because it all takes place just like I mean, they start off in like the helicopter and then they fall in the pool, but for the most part, that final scene
Is in his daughter's bedroom.
Is in his daughter's bedroom.
Yeah, and then,
but it still feels like grand and epic, like it's
yeah,
it's
like
huge
you
area.
guys have all seen the trailer where like they're fighting and then Thomas the Tank
And
Engine is
the
gonna
train
hit
hits
and it zooms out and just gets knocked over slightly. And that entire fight is like that. We're like,
And, yeah, and it's so funny how like they edit it and stuff because like you see like from the perspective of Ant-Man, like the train goes flying off the car and then it just like zooms out and it's just like
Yeah, how it would like react to like everybody else
Yeah.
they
watching.
did hit it a few times in the movie.
But
it worked. It worked.
The best
it's
part
just great how they
is
handle
when
it.
the
And
Thomas
when-
the Tank Engine gets hit by, I'm not sure
He
what
has,
you
it's
he has
the
like
discs.
discs that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that like grow things.
Yeah,
And
so
he-
Thomas the Tank
It
Engine.
hits his tank engine with the growy disc, and it just grows and just like destroys the wall of the bedroom and just falls.
So you have to imagine all these cops are out in the street, and out of nowhere,
A
this
giant
full-size
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas the Tank Engine
just
comes
like,
out of the
choo-choo,
second story.
Yeah, like real train size actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
and it's just sitting there smiling its eyes wobbling
Going
around.
back and forth.
Oh,
yeah.
it's great.
It's a great scene.
Okay.
And the giant ant. That's a weird dog!
Giant ant.
Well, like
Speaking of ants, Anthony.
Anthony!
No.
Oh!
Oh, God.
Okay, anyway. The ant dies. That's it.
He names an ant Anthony and then it dies.
And it dies. Even though he was like, that's 247. Or is it 248?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I
that's,
will-
that's definitely one of my favorite progressing things in the movie that I actually forgot about saying it when I was saying this. There's Ant-Man can control and talk to ants, like he's just like and pretty much any different kind of ant, and they have
Which he has a device that's
right.
not magical.
It's
He
cool
has
they're not all
tech
just
that
like
does it.
normal ants.
No, it's
and
like they all have their own
species.
specific.
Yeah.
And
Like,
at the
they're
beginning,
just-
he's not controlling them. He's just kind of using the suit, like at the very beginning. And forget his name. Please tell me his name.
Hank Pym?
Thank you.
The old ant man?
Yeah,
Yeah, Hank Pym.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget his name. He's controlling the ants, and he just gives them numbers. He's just like, hey, this number, go do this, go do this, go do this, and whenever it gets to him actually. Current Ant-Man,
Scott.
Jesus Christ, Scott. There's too many fucking names.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
no, not Jesus.
There's too many
Scott.
fucking white guys. in this movie.
he's like numbers are kind of like dumb, like they're kind of cute ants, and he gives them a name, and the one flying ant that he always takes with him is Anthony throughout the entire movie, and I just like how he just like gives them the names. I was actually hoping that by the end of it he was like fucking like just being like Hank, like Phil, like fucking like Susie, and then just like all like just knowing all the ants by name and just giving them names.
That would be
Great.
cool.
But that's just another joke that like Hank Pym does. He's like, you have any idea how many ants there
Yeah.
are? It's like you can't name them all.
Michael
All right.
Douglas is great. Anyway,
So we're gonna move on to Khan now. Things we didn't so much
I don't think
like.
it's gonna be a lot, honestly. But you know, hey,
We'll think of something.
we'll think
We
of something.
gotta do it.
We'll think of something to bitch about.
Jake,
Uh,
start us off.
things I didn't like about the movie. I didn't care for, but it grew on me throughout it. At the beginning, the Scott's friend. What's Scott's friend's name?
Luis.
Lewis? Is it Lewis?
Luis.
He's
'Cause he's Hispanic.
kind of annoying.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah, he's annoying.
Throughout the movie, he plays a pretty important part, and it progresses to where he's lovable and hilarious character. So they fix it, but like at the beginning, you're probably gonna be like, I don't know how I feel about the character.
It's a little
very
jarring.
jarring,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
he's
It's a little
kind
bit
of
of a
like,
slow start.
one of his jokes, like one of the first jokes you hear out of him, is like, "So how's life been now that you've been out?" And he's like, "Oh, what was it? His mother died."
he's like, how's your
His
wife?
dad-
Oh, she left me.
Yeah, his wife left him. His mother died.
and
His dad
got
was deported.
Yeah.
And
I
he's,
got
sitting
the
there,
van.
he's smiling while he's saying this, and he's like, "Oh, but I got the van. Isn't it great?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "What? You're
He's a very just like nothing will
Yeah.
ever get him down.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
happy character.
He's kind of like
Yeah.
the main character,
The
but
eternal
like,
optimist.
yeah, but like at the beginning, he's annoying though.
He just does not seem the kind of like criminal type as you first meet him, but it's like, okay, he does kind of grow.
A quick pro is the crew, the heist crew.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very very lovable.
Oh yeah,
all,
they're,
each
they're,
individual
they're
character.
pretty cool.
But cons, God, I'm trying to think of some. There's not a lot. Like the movie's pretty. Like, it's very good. Where it's like there's no really any inconsistencies, which there aren't ever really in Marvel movies. There's nothing like, well, this doesn't make sense. Like they usually do a really good job explaining it. I don't think.
I have like more if you're stuck.
If you do,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
go
not
ahead and move on to
remember
that.
that.
So like the one
Jake,
thing, and it's
it's
not
hard.
really a majorly bad thing, but like the movie's kind of predictable. Like you can kind of.
It's a simple plot.
It's a
Yeah.
simple plot, which isn't
Which, I
necessary.
mean, it's comedic. So
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. So
They approach it well.
yeah, it's just like you can kind of tell how it's gonna
Yeah.
play out. But like it's not like the Avengers was predictable, but it was still good. So like that's not really a bad thing. And the other thing is that this is kind of a problem with a lot of Marvel movies. The villain was a little was weak, and it's only because like I've seen this guy countless times. It's
I was
this-
gonna bring that up in my cons. Is just like if for the whole like first half of the movie, the villain is kind of just an afterthought.
He
He's
doesn't, he
just-
doesn't do anything.
He's just Obadiah Stane again.
Yeah,
he's just we have to use this technology for what I want, not what you want.
It's not really until the end of the movie that he does really anything.
Yeah.
But until then, it's just them like planning to do the
Yeah,
heist.
I think part of that is because I think this is kind of supposed to be an Ant-Man origin
Yeah,
story,
that's
or at
also
least
the
this
case,
version
yeah.
of Ant-Man, because
Yeah.
based off like we talked about earlier, the post-credit scene, I think we are going to see just an Ant-Man standalone series.
Yeah.
So it would make sense for it to be a bit of more focus
Yeah.
on how he.
Yeah, and that makes
Oh.
sense. But
Yeah,
it
but,
is.
like-
It's just
Yeah.
At the same point, yeah, the villain is just kind of like the same.
I'm
like-
glad that they focused on that though, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's a very ridiculous character. When
It's such a weird movie
because people like
all
not
the
knowing
cons
anything, just like oh a guy that
they
can
have
shrink and talk
also
to ants.
have like well,
yeah, all
they
the
didn't
all the
do
con-
that con,
all the cons
then I
aren't really
guess-
cons because they're not like huge problems.
Yeah.
Like nothing really detracts from the story or anything. It's
I
just
mean,
like,
it's not like the perfect movie.
No,
by any
but it's
means,
like-
but there's
it's
nothing
enjoyable.
overly like
No.
jarring that makes it like, oh, I can point at this and be like, that was a mistake. But it's like,
I wasn't sitting in the theater being like, oh, for fuck's sake, are you serious? Like I
Yeah.
wasn't doing that the entire movie. So like, you know,
I
it's a
think
very solid movie.
I
yeah.
think one of my favorite things about it, honestly, is like that Ant-Man's not perfect. He's nowhere near
Yeah.
perfect.
No, he's not
He
perfect.
fucks up a lot, and it takes him a pretty long time to learn how the suit works. It's very simple with 2 buttons,
Yeah.
not that hard. But like with timing and stuff, like him constantly like fucking running into the door, trying to. So like, you're like, all right,
Yeah,
so very simple. You're going to run at this door. You're going to shrink. You're going to jump through the keyhole, and then as soon as you get through it, you're going to turn big. And he's like, all right, slams into the fucking door
He does it
multiple
over
times.
and over again. And Hope is just like
Yeah.
he's hopeless.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's hopeless.
It's like when he has the suit, like it's kind of the same thing with Iron Man, where like, you know,
He messes up at the
he
beginning.
fucks
Yeah.
up. So he's not gonna be perfect driving anything the first time.
Yeah.
He fucks up constantly. So, yeah, that's all the cons I had pretty much.
Yeah, I love how they make him pretty much far from perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Zach,
Um,
cons?
I really don't have anything to complain about. Actually, everything seems pretty logical for a superhero movie,
Yeah.
anyways. Yeah. I don't know. You got anything, Connor?
I mean, pretty much everything we touched on, just like the villain, like, because the Yellow Jacket suit is introduced really early on, and then it's like,
It doesn't do anything. For
the whole
character.
point of the, like, heist is for them to get
Right.
the suit, but the actual guy doesn't become Yellow Jacket until the final fight scene.
Right.
So he's kind of a little bit underplayed throughout the movie. He just becomes kind of an afterthought
Yeah.
until that, like, ending scene.
But
Yeah.
the suit doesn't work until the end of the movie.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
spends
That's
most of the
also-
movie non-functioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like even the characters try to try to hide it because they're trying to sell it, and they're like oh okay, and then he's there like while he's not presenting the stuff, he's like, all right, we need to get this formula to work, like this is crazy, and he keeps turning stuff into goo basically, and he's like, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, if I was gonna get
Yeah.
really nitpicky, I guess that one guy who made the vague statement about, like, oh, I don't know.
There wasn't really a reason to kill him. He's,
Yeah,
he's just like questioning a once.
Yeah.
He just, like, he questioned, because, like, there was a whole scene where, like, the villain, Cross, he gives the presentation, and one of the guys is like, I don't know if this is gonna work, I don't know if this is gonna be okay.
It's a little
And
too
he's just
dangerous.
like-
Yeah.
And then Cross is just basically confronts him in the bathroom and kills him.
Yeah.
For-
like that was for that part of it. That was the
I was
only
like-
he becomes a kind of more over the top like
Yeah.
stereotypical villain near the end. But that was like
I was
the
just
only
kind
thing
of
at
like,
the beginning.
was it really necessary to kill
Well,
that
like
guy?
at the same point, the thing to justify about that is like what Hope says is that like him practicing with the pin particles so much is
Affecting his mind.
it's affecting his,
Yeah.
it's affecting his
I
brain.
wish they had touched on that a little bit more.
Yeah, like she brings up like when she's like, no,
Because
this
they
is
bring it up a lot,
this
that,
is
like-
the particles fucking with your brain. And I'm like, yeah, like that's the only thing I kept thinking. Like,
Because they kept talking about, like, oh, the print particles, they mess with your brain and stuff, but then it's like, how?
it makes
Like,
you fucking crazy.
It really,
I
like,
guess.
I guess, I mean, if you read the comic books, you know, like, the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym, has, like, in the comics,
He has, like,
his
a nervous
split
breakdown,
personality, and his other personality is the Yellow
Yeah,
Jacket.
so I guess they're kind of using that a little bit, but like
I just wish they had gone more in depth with it in the movie.
They could have.
Yeah, well, because they kind of made him like he even said like Hank was like yeah, I see myself in you. He's like well, what happened? He's like I saw too much of myself. So it kind of is two personalities of himself, but it's not.
I just wish they had explained it a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. It's the whole like how do the Pym particles like affect the brain and stuff, and like because basically Hank Pym confronts Scott that one time and is like, I can't wear the suit anymore. It messed with me, and it's like, well, how so? Can we get some more details, maybe?
I think it has a simple reason.
Really vague.
I think it has a simple reason why he can't wear the suit. He's fucking old.
Yeah.
He's 70-something years old.
I
No
think-
shit, he can't put on the suit anymore.
I'm fairly certain that him just killing the guy in the bathroom was kind of just for the plot purposes to solidify him as the villain.
Yeah.
And,
just to kind of like
he was a very vague.
And I
villain.
feel like
Yeah.
maybe the writers were kind of relying on us, like, as the audience to kind of, like, because we're kind of used to superheroes being like radiation and all this other stuff. I think they were kind of relying on us to kind of maybe pick up on something like that,
Yeah.
how it affects
And it
the
did also
brain.
kind of give him like the speech about like whole I transcend the laws of nature, so that kind of gave him a little bit of
I
character.
definitely agree it should be explained, but I feel like they might be relying a little, and that's why it feels like it needs explained. Is
Yeah.
maybe they're relying too much on us to be able to understand.
Is you could honestly take that scene out of the movie and it would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not nearly important. It's
It's
just.
not needed,
it's just
but, like-
him killing somebody just to show that he's the villain.
It just adds a
Yeah.
little bit.
which isn't
extra.
wrong.
It's-
It's just.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't destroy the movie, but like it just probably wasn't like.
yeah.
It's just not 100% necessary.
No,
Right?
no,
That's-
but it's not a bad thing. It doesn't take away from the movie.
It's
though.
not
It
necessary,
doesn't
but it
take
takes
away anything. It doesn't add anything.
yeah,
it's just
I would
kinda
say
there.
he's evil enough just killing baby lambs. That,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you put sprinkles on ice cream and you put too many sprinkles on ice cream.
It's live animal
I was-
testing. It's
Yeah,
not.
but it's like mice. Oh, whatever. They're fucking mice. Baby
No,
lambs.
fuck
line
my-
about like just his line about like I thought you were doing it with a rat, and he's like, what's the difference?
That's it. I would say
Yeah,
it's
Honestly, I'm kind of with them on that. It's like
That kind
it's
of
an animal.
that kind of shows that he's kind of like
It's-
above
yeah.
like.
If it was a person,
I don't want to say above.
If it were
morality,
even like
but,
a dog, though, you'd be like, "What are you doing? Why are you killing a dog?"
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's close.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not quite there, but it's like.
I still wouldn't be bothered.
I know what you're talking about, Jake.
It bothered me.
I'm with you.
I was
Jake.
like, "Oh, baby lamb."
No, I get you. I get you.
No.
Killing a baby lamb truly shows your evil. Anyway, so
It was even white.
it was one
To show purity.
and then cross fucking.
Fucking symbolism.
That's a film technique.
That's fucking symbolism.
This movie's fucking deep. I think that's it. I think that's all I have.
Any Easter
Probably a
eggs
couple
that we
millimeters.
didn't see?
Easter eggs. Let me think.
Oh, they talked about Spider-Man.
Oh, they did like
They did, yes.
Because at
There
the
was-
end,
yeah, very
Falcon's
good-
talking to
very-
some Asian
this
chick.
is neither a prawn nor a con.
No, it's a
con.
something.
It's just like
Reference to
we're just a reference to Spider-Man.
Very vague. Like Falcon's talking. Well, Louise is relaying information about this one guy that he heard talk about this other chick that talked to Falcon about like him looking for Ant-Man,
And basically, the chick says, "We have a guy that can jump. We have a guy that can swim. We have a guy that can crawl up walls."
So
And it's like,
like,
oh, that mentions Spider-Man.
so yeah, so you know,
Be a little specific. Do you have a guy that shrinks?
yeah, it's
So yeah, actually, kind of almost 3 references to movies that are coming out: Ant-Man 2, Avengers, and Spider-Man.
assuming
In
when the
one.
fuck we're gonna get Wasp in.
Right.
Yeah.
She might show up before Ant-Man 2, which I hope she does.
I doubt
Well,
it.
considering Ant-Man 2 is gonna be probably after
I think
Infinity
she's
War.
more just a counterpart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's definitely like a Falcon. Like, you're not gonna get a
Yeah.
Falcon movie.
She's probably
Yeah.
gonna be in Infinity War or something.
She'll probably make an appearance in Civil War.
Oh,
I think.
yeah, like, definitely.
All right, so we're gonna do our ratings now. Out of 5 this time.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Just to
Dad.
just to kind of simplify it a little bit. we're just
420 out
gonna
of
do, like,
69.
an out of 5 stars. So, Jake,
Woo!
how would you
I like
rate this movie?
I would say Marvel movie. I would say it might be my second favorite Marvel movie, without giving it a star rating.
What's your
But I will
favorite
give it a
Marvel
star
movie?
rating. My Guardians of the Galaxy, hands down.
Gotcha.
Beautiful movie, my favorite one. Hilarious
Is that
and
camera turned off? I
amazing.
think the camera turned off.
Well, it's not pointed towards us, first of all.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well.
Oh fuck. Okay.
We'll find out soon.
We still have this one though, so whatever. Anyway, Jake, continue.
So yeah, giving it a rating, I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, 4.5, like 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5, but definitely a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's not perfect, but I would say it's a great Marvel movie to watch. If you don't like Marvel movies, like I would still consider it, watch it. Like it's good, it's funny. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna give the same thing, 4.5. Like, it's good, it's enjoyable, it's not perfect, it's not as big or epic as, like, the Avengers or even Guardians, but, like, it's funny, it's good, it's got a lot of heart, got a lot of character, so yeah, it's pretty damn good. I don't know if that can't say anything on it.
I don't normally do this, but I'm going to say this is my favorite Marvel movie. And
How many Marvel movies have you seen? Because I know you don't follow them.
Not until recently, yeah. I've seen a good handful of them. Like I haven't seen any of Thor or anything, but I don't really care about Thor. Honestly, kill me if you have to.
Have you seen Winter Soldier?
No. Honestly, Captain America and Thor just don't interest me.
You gotta see Winter Soldier.
Winter
Like,
Soldier's great.
Avengers and like Spider-Man and Hulk and all that.
I can
yes.
see that, but they're almost too perfect.
But
Yeah.
it's not even that. It's just the characters and the concepts. I was just like, oh yeah, that's cool.
You gotta see Winter Soldier.
But,
it's amazing. And Guardians.
I'm gonna say 5 out of 5, not because it's perfect, but because it's, in my opinion, if you like movies and if you like superheroes, you have to see it, and that's why I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. And yeah, even if it's like you're not even a superhero person, if you like comedies, go watch it. It's hilarious. Even when it gets serious, it immediately flips it around with either wordplay or something over the top. Like she goes to walk Scott out of the house, and then Hank opens the door and they're making out, and Scott's just like, God, no, well, there's kind of something happening here. But Hope, how could you just grab me and start kissing me like that? Gosh, Hope, and he just walks away.
You're full of shit.
I almost choked on my drink. It was great, and so yeah, not a perfect, but because you have to go see it.
Yeah, very very quick comedy. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
love it.
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. It's not my favorite Marvel movie. I think mine is still. I go back and forth on Guardians and Winter Soldier a lot. But yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. Great movie.
Alright, so,
If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again.
yeah, and if you are excited for Civil War, you're gonna like this movie. If you're excited for, I don't know, just Marvel in general, you're gonna like this movie. Go see Ant-Man, go see every other Marvel movie that comes out now, give them all of your money and be their slave, and do not relent unless you see every single thing that they make. All hail Marvel. Hail Hydra.
Oh shit!
Oh, Hydra was in this one, because like, because
You thought that was the end.
Wait,
bullshit, post-credit scene!
post-credit scene.
So Hydra's in it because Cross is trying to sell a yellow jacket to them. He's like, yeah, we these guys in Hydra. Don't worry, they're not what you think.
The reason why we missed it is because it's very small.
Yeah, and
Hydra just has a small.
It's
little
only
appearance.
corporate too.
Yeah,
it's just
their business, man.
it's just Hydra business.
Oh, by the way, I sold this idea to a company named Hydra. They're good now. They're not us.
He could have said any other name and it would have made just.
They definitely didn't just get their ass kicked by, the fucking Avengers a couple months ago.
So they're probably like, oh shit, we lost our alien technology,
Well,
Glowy Stone. We need something else.
If you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know Hydra's not like.
Yeah, no, Hydra's still
yeah.
around, but like.
I just found it funny because it's like if you watch, like I'm not sure how close it is on the timeline, but based off the things they say, it sounds pretty recent. Like Hydra's still doing evil
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
so it's like.
I assume it's after Ultron.
Well, it has to be.
Well,
because
yeah, I mean,
Because they mentioned the.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how soon.
Yeah,
If
so-
it's like months or.
Oh, that was a good line where Hankin was like, we don't even dropping any cities. I'm like, ha!
Yeah.
That's almost like making a 9/11 joke, honestly. Anyway,
I
so
don't think
All
so,
right.
man.
They did save most of the people.
All right. So
now it's the end.
now this is the end of the review.
This
Matt,
is
do
where-
the outro thing.
Thanks for watching. I fucked it up. Jake, to the outro.
Thanks for watching. We are a solid 9. Don't forget to like us and comment if you want to, and subscribe if you want to, because why the fuck not? It's just,
Yeah.
It's just a little click.
And we're looking for fan fiction submissions
if
for
you like-
Jake X Matt.
If you like our gameplay, tell us. If you like our reviews, tell us. And our next review will probably be what? I assume.
Fantastic Four is
Fantastic
next.
Four.
I think.
Is that what's
Fantastic
next?
That's
Four.
next month.
That's next month. That's early next month.
Yeah.
That one's really up in the air, folks. So
I'm interested.
Watch.
I'm interested to see it. So, yeah, that's about it.
Especially for the first one being kind of a flop.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The first two being kind of flop.
First two were. Well, the first one's
Yeah.
kind of. The second one's where they kind of lost it.
So, yeah.
That's it.
We'll see ya.
I'll be in my trailer. My trailer in Jake's bathroom.
You don't have a
Get
trailer.
out of my fucking bathroom.
I got shit, Jake.
Yeah, well,